What's up, you all? How's everybody doing today? Um, I want to jump right into it. Part two of artificial Negro intelligence. Just like we have artificial intelligence, we have artificial Negro intelligence, and the intelligence of Black people has been programmed. It's been created. It's not real. Most of the minds of Black people have been just filled with propaganda since birth. Like this is since you come out when you come out the womb, they already hand you a script. You got to think this way, you got to talk this way, you got to look this way, and depending on how you act, that varies your degrees of Blackness. So if you're too far this way, they're not gonna call you Black. They're gonna say you a sellout, you a coon. If you're too far this way, they're gonna call you the N-word. So you just it's tough. So we're going to get it started, though, today. Thank you, Goddess Navi. Thank you so much. We're going to get started, though. Let's get started with the song selection. I think this song is very fitting for today's show. Some of you niggas ain't We'll be playing some selections throughout the day. Oh, that song is funny though. But let's get started though. Let's get started. Let's get started. Let's get started. Here we go.
Years, blacks are told to vote for the Democrat running for president. When the Democrats' record is poor, as in the case of Jimmy Carter in 1980, they're told to vote for him anyway because he's less racist or more liberal than his opponent. The result is, in terms of political reality, not a very sophisticated approach to electoral politics. Following the Carter black leaders, most blacks, about 90% of those voting, went into the loser's circle behind the landslide loser. The results are so devastating that for the first time in years, there is active planning for a new role in future politics. I'm Tony Brown. In a moment, Republicans, Democrats, neither of the above. 58% of blacks voted in the presidential election of 1968. It dropped to 52% in 1972, went down to 49% in 1976, and in the 1980 elections, only 7 million or 40% of eligible blacks voted. It has become increasingly clear that blacks must reassess the nature of their participation in the political process, both in terms of a two-party system and a potential black independent movement. In 1976, while 52% of whites nationwide voted against Jimmy Carter and 55% of whites in the South did the same, 94% of blacks made his presidency possible with their one-sided support. In 1980, blacks were the only group to remain on the sinking Democratic ship, while every other element of the old Democratic coalition defected to the Reagan landslide. These failures and embarrassing politics have forced some to question.
So now I want you to think back. When Joe Biden ran for president, there was 58% of black people voted for Joe, period, in that election. So that means over half of black people voted. Not just eligible people, obviously, but 58% of the black population voted. 86% of those votes, 87% of those votes going to Joe Biden. So that's a huge chunk of people voting for one candidate, one party. But this guy Tony Brown is breaking this. He's breaking this down. The voting patterns of Black people. I'll play it again. This was 40 years ago. This was taped 40 years ago. So what you'll realize is that Black people are stuck in a time loop. It's like a time capsule where Black folks just repeat the same behaviors in cycles. And I think it's because if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And so you'll see this last election cycle, we saw 58% of Black people vote heavily for a candidate that was terrible. And this year, they'll probably do the same with Kamala Harris, because there's a huge machine behind Kamala Harris. I've never seen this before in my life. I've never seen this many Black people galvanized for one candidate since Barack Obama. But that doesn't really count because Barack Obama was the first, Black president. This Kamala thing is different. She has a proven track record that's failed. Nobody thinks she's very savvy. No one believes in her leadership. Like, there's so many things stacked against her. It's almost prophetic of how Black people are supporting her. Think about this. Think about the worst candidate you could pick. Think about this. Think about the worst candidate you could pick, and that candidate Black folks break the record for. We saw it with Joe Biden, and we might see it again with Kamala Harris. Thank you all for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Listen, we know she isn't Black. We just saying, just for Kamala is actually Brahmin Indian, West Indian, and Irish. So she's not Black at all. But again, Black people are real caught up on the optics. Remember when there was a fad where the rims were spinning? Remember that? The rim spinners? Remember the spinner rims? That was like the Black people's delight, to see something spinning like a little kid, a wheel spinning. Black folks love that. So Black folks love like pop-up books. You hand a Black person a novel, they're gonna knock it out your hand. You open that book up and it pops up, you got their attention. So that's how Black folks look at their politics. If it's visually appealing to them, they're gonna do it. So they made Joe Biden visually appealing by surrounding him with entertainers and all this foolishness, and then having a whole bunch of Black folks endorse him. Obama didn't need it because he was the first Black president. But anyway, let's replay this.
Every 4 years, Blacks are told to vote for the Democrat running for president. When the Democrats' record is poor, as in the case of Jimmy Carter in 1980.
Her father is Jamaican, but say he was Jamaican. What's indigenous to Jamaica? If her father is Jamaican and indigenous, what's indigenous to Jamaica? Her father's actually, biracial. He's Irish and whatever. I don't know if he's West Indian and Irish. Some say maybe African and Irish. I don't know. But we just know it's not Black, because Black is specific to these Americas. Black is a term given to the Negroes here. This new phenomenon of Blackness is to globalize Blackness, with folks in other countries call themselves Black, but being Black is specifically an American thing. The Black experience takes place in America. Now, of course, I don't subscribe to it. I've been clean of Blackness for over 4 years. Y'all can clap for that. But in my sobriety, I've discovered that Blackness doesn't extend beyond America. In fact, on your passport, it says American. So even when you leave out this country, you can't be Black. Being Black is only confined to the United States, North America, not including Canada. And North America, not including Mexico either. I don't know if Mexico is part of South America or not, but not including Mexico, not including Canada, Alaska. This is just North America, these 50 states. I don't even think Hawaii even counts. I don't think Puerto Rico even counts. This continental U.S., North America. But anyway, Let's continue.
Every 4 years, blacks are told to vote for the Democrat running for president. When the Democrats' record is poor, as in the case of Jimmy Carter in 1980, they're told to vote for him anyway because he's less racist or more liberal than his opponent. The result is, in terms of political reality, not a very sophisticated approach to electoral politics.
Notice he said not a very sophisticated approach. I had the pleasure of listening to Kwame Kilpatrick, and he said it's easy to win as a Democrat in Michigan. He said all you have to do is just say that your opponent is racist and you're going to win. And so what I'm saying is that black people, this is not me, black people have shown to be very primitive and simple. When it comes to things out of their wheelhouse, when it comes to things out of sports, entertainment, having a good time, decadence, when it's out of that, black folks prove to be very, very primitive when it comes to having to think outside the box on certain issues. And so this is 40 years ago. 40 years ago, black folks were voting based on somebody telling them who was the least racist. Think this is 40 years ago. So we're 40 years past this time, and black folks have just now, they just making Kamala black. Black folks that went from you had to earn your blackness, now they're just giving it away. Now to be black, all you got to do is just go to HBCU, be a part of a black fraternity or sorority, eat some soul food, and that's it. Be a Democrat. That's it. Let's continue. Let me start over.
Told to vote for the Democrat running for president. When the Democrats' record is poor, as in the case of Jimmy Carter in 1980, they're told to vote for him anyway because he's less racist or more liberal than his opponent. The result is, in terms of political reality, not a very sophisticated approach to electoral politics. Following the Carter black leaders, most blacks, about 90% of those voting, went into the loser's circle behind the landslide loser. The results are so devastating that for the first time in years, there is active planning for a new role in future politics.
Now, the reason why 90% of black people voting for a candidate and they don't win or they not win is because there wasn't the propaganda. There wasn't the propaganda machine. So what I'm saying is that during this time, people voted for who they wanted. There wasn't a propaganda machine to sway those on the fence. Those on the fence either got swayed by family and friends or what they saw, what they heard from the candidate. But now you have a propaganda. So right now we're seeing the propaganda machine behind Kamala. They're making you believe that Republicans are switching sides. That the propaganda behind Kamala is crazy. They're making you believe that Republicans are switching sides to vote for her. This is insanity. And so now, if Kamala gets 90% of the black vote, which she will get, the propaganda machine is going to make up for the rest. It just is. You know, the reason why they wanted Trump to have these felonies is so when he's running, you can always bring it up. It's just a low-hanging fruit. Oh, you a felon. Like, it's just easy to say. Like, it's just easy. It was all a setup. But what he said was black people voted, 90% of eligible black voters voted for a candidate that lost in a landslide. That would never happen today because the propaganda machine, the media, the system, the corporations, everything is behind the Democratic vote. For a person to vote Republican, they actually have to be kind of informed. You may not believe it, but for a person to vote Republican, they have to kind of be informed because nothing supports a Republican vote. Not a TV show, not billboards, nothing supports, not the media, not movies, nothing supports a Republican vote. So for a person to be Republican, they actually kind of have to know a little bit of something to even vote Republican. Let's continue.
I'm Tony Brown. In a moment, Republicans, Democrats, neither of the above. 58% of blacks voted in the presidential election of 1968. It dropped to 52% in 1972, went down to 49% in 1976, and in the 1980 elections, only 7 million or 40% of eligible blacks voted.
Now, the reason why the numbers got low in 1980 for black people voting is because by 1980, you could see that black folks were getting disinterested in politics. So either two things were happening. Either black folks were saying, we cool with America no matter who wins, or it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad to the point where they didn't even want to vote. Now they're telling you if you don't vote, you're going to go back to slavery. Now they're saying if you don't vote, you're going to go back into slavery. So again, without all this propaganda, you saw the black vote becoming less and less and less and less and less, because clearly whatever was going on in society wasn't affecting black folks to the point where they felt like voting. This man just said 7 million black people voted. 7 million, 40%. So again, what we're witnessing now is it's almost like Minority Report, where they had those women in there and they could predict crimes. They know if they pump enough propaganda, they can get black folks to do what they want them to do in the masses. And the reason why I say black is because black people are used to push the propaganda. So again, they can't use Asian people because no one's going to follow Asian people. I hate to sound like this. No one's going to follow Hispanics. They're not. No one's going to follow immigrants. They're just not going to do it. They're going to follow black people. And when it comes to white, they don't want to use white because there's an anti-white agenda. And the anti-white agenda is against the white evangelical Christian. That is who the agenda is against. So they're not going to use anybody white. They're going to use somebody black to influence everybody. So again, this is why black folks are targeted. Every group has gifts. Every group. White people's gifts are structure and order. Asians are loyalty, blind obedience. Black people's influence. Hispanic is multiplying. They baby's kids or gremlins. So every group has their gift. We could probably even say family for the Hispanics too. We can probably say family. But my point is, every group has their own gift. But black people's gift is used to influence the entire planet. So this is why all the propaganda is being pumped into black people from the time they come out the womb to the time they leave this earth. Let's continue.
It has become increasingly clear that blacks must reassess the nature of their participation in the political process, both in terms of a two-party system and a potential black independent movement. In 1976, while 52% of whites nationwide voted against Jimmy Carter and 55% of whites in the South did the same, 94% of blacks made his presidency possible with their one-sided support.
So we see when it came to Jimmy Carter, 94% of the black vote went to him, and he won. And he won. But then, I don't know about his presidency, but I don't hear much about Jimmy Carter. He's popular here because he's from Georgia, but I don't really hear that much about Jimmy Carter. He's kind of like, I don't know. But for some reason, I'm thinking about Peanuts with him. I don't know why I'm thinking about Peanuts. Not George Washington Carver. I'm talking about Jimmy Carter. But let's continue. Let's continue.
Percent of blacks made his presidency possible with their one-sided support. In 1980, blacks were the only group to remain on the sinking Democratic ship.
So you saw after Jimmy Carter, black folks stayed on the ship. They went down with the ship. This is back in 1980. It is 2024. And this man said it was a sinking Democratic ship. We're talking about 44 years ago. We're talking about 44 years. Look at what this man is saying 44 years ago about black people and how they vote.
while every other element of the old Democratic coalition defected to the Reagan landslide. These failures and embarrassing politics have forced some to question.
And that was Tony Brown. I want to find that full clip, but I liked what he said, just for the mindset aspect of Black people 44 years ago. Somebody said Jimmy Carter's presidency was worse than Biden's. They were showing people running out of gas stations because of OPEC, etc. Somebody said he went public and said Jesus would accept homosexuality. Oh, wait a minute. I know Jimmy Carter ain't tripping like that. Jimmy Carter said Jesus, let me see. Jimmy Carter said Jesus would accept homosexuality. Okay, here we go. I think this might have been recent though. This is when he was old and senile. Okay, 2018, Jimmy Carter said Jesus would approve of gay marriage. I think Jesus would encourage any love affair if it was, excuse me. I think Jesus would encourage any love affair if it was honest and sincere and was not damaging to anyone else. And I don't see that gay marriage damages anyone else. Carter, who describes himself as a born-again Christian, told HuffPost Live, I have a hard time believing that Jesus would approve abortions unless it was because of rape or incest or if the mother's life was endangered. So I've had that struggle, Carter said. I've had that struggle, but my oath of office was to obey the Constitution and the laws of this country as interpreted as Supreme Court. So I went along with that. Carter was president from 1977 to 1981 after the Supreme Court had legalized abortion in the landmark case Roe v. Wade. So Jimmy Carter is insane. Jimmy Carter lost his mind when he was younger. He went crazy. He said he's a born-again Christian, but that Christ would accept gay marriage and that Christ would agree with abortion under certain circumstances. Well, we know that if a woman went to Christ and said, Lord, I've been essayed, what should I do? Do you think Christ would say, go murder the child? If a woman went to Christ after she had been R-word, do you think Christ would tell her, go murder the child? So Jimmy Carter is saying that Christ would accept abortion under certain terms, and he would accept gay marriage, and he would encourage gay marriage. Clearly, Jimmy Carter is not only just a heathen, but he's a libtard. And just based on what he said in this interview, his presidency, I can see how it was a failure, because a man that double-minded can't lead anything, not his household, not even himself. You always got to be careful when you listen to these quote unquote believers, because they'll say things like this. It seems harmless. I believe that Christ would accept gay marriage because it was about love. He would encourage people to love as long as it didn't hurt anybody. This is a fictitious Jesus. This is a fake Jesus. See, what they did was they convinced the world and believers to water Christ's image down. And once they watered the image down, they lowered the standards. And so now Christ accepts everything, but also he's the most mocked now. He's the most made fun of. He's the most condemned. See, once you lower the stat, see, back 44 years ago, he couldn't have said this. 44 years ago, you couldn't get on TV talking about Jesus is bad and all this. You couldn't do it. You could cancel. So they had to lower the standard of Jesus. They had to make him liberal. They had to make him soft and woke and weak. And then once they did that, and then people started saying, oh, he would accept this, then the world started attacking him. But 44 years ago, folks wouldn't dare think about talking about Christ like this. They wouldn't dare. People would get their head knocked off doing this. Go 44 years ago, walk in a church trying to protest about some of this and see what happened to you. You get your head knocked off. Just 44 years ago. So again, what accelerates all of this stuff is the propaganda. The propaganda accelerates all of this. It's propaganda. It's every day conditioning your mind with something. Let's continue. So here's some AI images. Let me read this comment. Black culture is about emotionalism, entertainment, very liberal. I left the church because the pastor spent $3 million to make the church TV ready, and his wife left him his house not in order. His wife left him. Okay. So yeah, so again, the black church basically bought into liberation theology. It started happening in the 60s. Once that happened, it was over for the black church. And so you got to think, people were like, why don't you go to church, Blanche? Where am I going to go to church and actually get the word? Now, I'm not saying they're not churches, but where can I go and actually get the word? Where can I go to a church that's not compromising? Where can I go to a church that when the next Peter pandemic comes, they're not going to shut down? Where can I go to a church where they don't care about what the government's saying? Where can I go to a church where the pastor has conviction? He's not weak. He's not soft. He has wisdom. Where can I go? So even the fact that folks are asking me, why don't I go? Like it's a whole bunch of church out there that really about God's word is just lets you know where the state of the church is now, especially the black church. Lady B said, my church. Where's your church? I'm open going to church. So this is this guy does AI art, and basically he's showing black people growing oversized greens. But again, this is what's going to replace history, because once they reveal the true history, black folks are going to get upset. Like once they said everybody wasn't a slave, and black folks owned slaves, and white people were slaves, and all that. Once they give out the real history, black folks are going to be upset, and they're going to want an alternative. This is where AI comes in. AI is going to give them a path they will accept. I remember in The Matrix, the father of the architect of The Matrix, he said he tried to make the Matrix like a utopia. He tried to make the Matrix like a utopia, and people, they didn't accept it. It should be relieving for black people to know that the history they've been fed is false. Like it should bring joy to black. Think about black people literally in the streets protesting, fists in the air saying, I was a slave. But the context of it will be, I want to be from a slave. It should be relief for somebody to say, oh, my ancestors weren't slaves? Good. Good. So this AI history is going to replace real history. This is what black folks are going to be going to virtual realities, living in these virtual past worlds. You're going to see black folks wanting to be slaves, wanting to go to segregation. I'm telling you right now, Black people are going to want to have the VR experience with the past. They're going to want to be slaves. They're going to want to be sitting at lunch counters getting pissed on and spit on. They're going to want to get hit with water hose. They want to get beat. Black people are going to want the oppressed experience. I'm just telling y'all. Side note, the Matrix made up aliens because it's not a concern to the architect. The Matrix made up aliens because it's not a concern to them. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
Industry for 10 years, and people, all these country artists were like, this is not who we are, talking about racism. And I'm like, no, this is exactly what y'all are. Like, I've experienced it for 10 years. I've been called the N-word at shows. I've sang in front of Confederate flags. Like, it's been something that I've dealt with for a long time. And so when I called it out, the fans of this artist came for me. I have screenshots calling me a fucking nigger, saying, take your black ass out of country music. Don't you ghetto up country music. Oh, while I'm hearing all these white dudes rapping on their songs and with trap beats in their songs, and they're telling me to take my black ghetto ass out of country music. And it was just a lot.
Well, young lady, Mickey Guyton, the reason why is because we know it's cap. Black people would never come watch you perform. Black folk would never buy your music. And imagine you trying to still pander to Black people. Black folks don't support you at all, and you're still trying to pander to them. Y'all do realize that these white folks know when y'all lying, right? They know when y'all full of it. Have you ever heard a white person say the N-word around some white folks and the response they get? Have you all ever heard some on social media, anytime somebody says the N-word, it's a bunch of white people jumping in. So if somebody was calling her the N-word at a concert, I guarantee somebody said something to them. So you mean to tell me you're going to concerts, you're seeing Confederate flags, getting called the N-word, and you're still able to perform? I don't buy it. If you were that resilient, you wouldn't be on the show. If you were resilient enough and strong enough to be able to see Confederate flags, hear the N-word, and still sing your heart out, if you were that strong and that resilient, you would not be on this show. The fact that you're on this show lets me know that you're weak. Black folks don't support Mickey Guyton at all. But yet she still finds it necessary to pander to them. This is because of propaganda. They're telling you every day, this is what makes you Black. Being a country artist doesn't make you Black. What makes you Black is being a part of the struggle. That's why she's saying, even though I'm in country music, even though I have my own, think about how many white fans that she has. A successful country artist, but you're saying they're racist. Only the country folks buy your music, young lady. Black folks don't buy your music. And when them people said you were ghettoing up country music, what they're talking about is your rhetoric, ma'am. Not rapping over trap beats. Your rhetoric. Your rhetoric is ghetto. I'm a victim. You all are racist. The rhetoric is ghetto. As you have a head full of yaki. As you have a hair full of the white woman's hair texture. But they're so racist. If you were seeing Confederate flags and you were hearing the N-word, seems like to me you would have took the lace front off and just let your hair be free. I mean, if you're really that resilient as a person, you would have walked out on stage bald head. you would have walked out on stage bald head with all your little African kente cloths, like your kente guitar case with the kente cloth strap on it, your Black Lives Matter shirt on. I mean, if you was that tough, you'd have came out like that. But the fact that you got that lace front on your head, I don't buy it. So the reason why they called you ghetto man was because of your rhetoric, not your image or your appearance. It's your obligated black rhetoric. You are lying on these people. There are plenty of country black artists that only have white country fans. Black folks ain't buying y'all music. So the white folks are supporting you all. The immigrants ain't buying y'all music. The Hispanics ain't buying y'all music. The Asians ain't buying y'all music. Only white people are buying you all's music. So the fact that y'all get up on the stage and have the audacity to say that it's racism is disgraceful. It's disgraceful. Out of respect for your fans, you shouldn't have said nothing. It's like when Lizzo said, I don't make my music for white people. Lizzo, only white folks buy your music though. Black folks don't buy Lizzo's music. But again, this is from constant programming and propaganda. It is the artificial Negro intelligence. Let's continue. Now this is how black people look to God. Now, you know, black folks think they're just the best thing since sliced bread. But when God looks at y'all, this is how y'all look to God. Like this right here. This is how black folks look to God. God sees past all the facade and God goes straight to who you are on the inside. This is how y'all look on the inside. This is black culture. This little, he is the embodiment, this little diaspora, niglet of the diaspora. This right here, he is the embodiment of black culture from a visual standpoint. Niglets of the diaspora. Somebody say it like an evil milk dud with tea. But anyway, that is I ain't on that. No, I ain't on that go-go. I think this might be Africa. Africa. You know what's crazy to me? How like midgets are like born, obviously they're born shorter, but they always be cut up though. It's like God was like, okay, I'm gonna make y'all, and they super strong. Like y'all been around some midgets, they are super strong. They got like superhuman strength. So God was like, okay, I'm gonna make y'all heads big, y'all body small, but I'm gonna give y'all superhuman strength and muscles. But yeah. Okay, let's continue. But he's the embodiment of black culture. Niglets of the diaspora. But let's continue. Here goes a test for you all.
Here we are at South Point. Be here for a couple weeks for the rodeos. Come by Stewart Supreme Shine. You'll get the best in the business. Upstairs by the arena. Thank you.
Now Now, okay. Now, my oh, he's shining his shoes. Hey, listen. So my question is this man is he making an honest living with pride and dignity, or is he oppressed by white people? Is he making an honest living with pride and dignity and decency, or is he oppressed by this white man?
Here we are at South Point. Be here for a couple weeks for the rodeos. Come by Stuart Supreme Shine. You'll get the best in the business. Upstairs by the arena. Thank you.
Listen, man. My question is he making an honest living with dignity and decency, or is he oppressed by the white man? Now, most black folks will see this and think that he's actually being oppressed and this is beneath him. I'm only laughing because of the veracity of which he's shining these shoes. Like his shoulders and his arms got to be swole like that. Like doing this every day, all this got to be swole. Like, you know. But most black folks will see this and think that he's somehow either selling out or he's making himself look bad. You can go to comments on this video. But the woman's actually pumping his business up. And she's actually proud of his work. Like, these people will go to this guy because he does a great job. And so, but you've been conditioned to believe that if a white person is showing admiration for your craft, all of a sudden now he's a slave master and you're a slave. It's just conditioning and programming. But it's part of the artificial Negro intelligence. I wasn't laughing at him. I was laughing at I'm laughing at because I know what folks think when they see him working this hard, you know. And black folks think that this is selling out and he's a slave and a coon and all that. But guess what? This is a skill, though. To be able to shine shoes, to have people want to come to you before they go to the rodeo, I mean, that's an honor. And keep in mind, when these folks go back home, they're going to say, if you're ever in such and such, go see whatever his name is, Larry the Shoe Shine guy. I don't know. Larry the Shoe Shine King. I don't know. And wherever you in Texas and you go to this rodeo in Galveston, I don't know, make sure you go and see Larry the Shoe Shine King. So again, these people appreciate this man's work. It's not about them feeling inferior not about them feeling superior and having him feel inferior. But I'm gonna tell you who won't go support him. You know who won't go support him? You know who will do all that talking but won't go support him? Who do you think won't go get their boots shined by this man? We already know. Thank you all for these birthday wishes. I appreciate it. I'm going to address you all when I get done, but thank you all so much. I love you all. I truly do. Thank you. Tierra said the blacks will rob him. JV Chanel says society looks down on trades. What he has is a skill. I agree. Amen. Thank y'all. Thank you. Bye Pie said, I was at a gun show a few years ago and a white man offered to shine my shoes. He was selling shoe shine. Exactly. It makes sense. It makes sense. But of course, this man's making an honest living and he's putting his pride into his work. And guess what? he's going to be honored because he does that. You know, the Bible tells us that we should be working like we're working for God. Let's find that scripture. Let's find that scripture. Colossians 3, verse 23 and 24. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Christ. So, and whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men. So when we are working, we are to be working like we are working for Christ. When we are working, we are not supposed to be working for a person, company, or a paycheck. Our labor is supposed to go to as if we're honoring God. So that means when we're at work, we should be giving our best effort. We shouldn't be on the job complaining. We should be thankful to God that we have employment. Let's continue. Let's continue. I am missing something. I don't see that. I'll find it.
Take a village to raise a child, but what if the village is retarded? We said take a village to raise a child, but what if the village is retarded?
Nobody ever asked that question. Nobody ever asked that question.
Clips of Kamala Harris stating things. I don't need politicians to state things. I need politicians to do things. When I met with Kamala Harris after she summoned me, I said to her straight up, you talk out two sides of your neck and we don't know what you're talking about. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Kamala Harris who's trying to shut me the fuck up. Because I told her straight up that I feel like she is disingenuous in her messaging.
If this ain't the pot calling the kettle black, if this Amanda Seals has some nerve calling somebody disingenuous and talking out the both sides of their neck, I know Amanda Seals, Psychotic Seals, ain't talking about somebody as disingenuous. The woman with no friends, the woman that nobody likes, the woman that's crazy, the woman that talks out of both sides of her neck. Back in 2020, she told black people, don't do no research, don't investigate, just vote for Joe Biden. She literally said, don't be an informed voter, just go vote for Joe Biden, be dumb and go vote. She said the people in my country, because she's not from, people in my country, they're informed voters. But she told black folks in America to don't think, just vote. Don't think, just vote for Joe Biden. Now she's saying that she cares about policy. Now she wants you to think. What you're also going to find in this debacle of Kamala Harris running for president, you're going to find a whole bunch of black women that are jealous of her. See, we didn't explore that aspect. We explored all the queens giving her support, But we didn't venture to talk about or discuss how many black women don't want to see a black woman that much further above them. How many black women don't want to see a black woman that much further above them, especially one that's not black, plain black. Kamala Harris has been the same Kamala Harris this entire time. She's been very consistent talking crazy. I'd venture to say that Kamala Harris is not into double speak. She always talks crazy, consistently. I've never heard Kamala Harris talk and it was a sane comment. Well, one time she did when she said America was racist, because that was true. America isn't racist. That's true. Blanche, but America's racist because it's a sin. If America was racist, it would look the same around the whole country, across the country. If America, okay, put it this way. If America was communist, it would look communist across the country. So if America was racist, it would look the same across the country. So that means black folk would get treated the same way across the country. The fact that black people have a whole entire political party that panders to them, black people have an entire political party that literally panders to them. Then they have half of another party that panders to them. Then they have half of another party that panders to them. Black people have literally two political parties pandering to them, and they're calling America racist. It doesn't make any sense. Why is it when I go to a communist country, there's no confusion on whether that country is communist or not? Why is it when we get to America, it goes from systemic racism all the way down to microaggressions? Walmart is the same nationwide. That is a system. If you walk into any Walmart, it looks the same. That is a system. If America was systemically racist, it would look the same. Black folk would get treated the same way in every state if it was systemically racist, but it's not. Just propaganda. But Amanda Seals has some nerve calling someone disingenuous and talking out the side of the neck, talking out both sides of their neck. I don't need politicians to state things. I need them to do things. Amanda Seals, who are you? Who are you? You don't call any shots. You ain't even from here. You stated that last election. You stated that your people, you're not even from here. After she summoned me. I'm going to play it again.
Of Kamala Harris stating things. I don't need politicians to state things. I need politicians to do things. When I met with Kamala Harris after she summoned me, I said to her straight up, you talk out two sides of your neck and we don't know what you're talking about. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Kamala Harris who's trying to shut me the fuck up. Because I told
Amanda Seals, you've been running your mouth since I've known you. No one is trying to shut you up. Nobody. You are allowed to, you've never been shadow banned. You've never been censored or demonetized. Amanda Seals. You've never experienced any censorship on social media. So you can stop that right now. That's a lie. Stop. It's cap. I don't need politicians to state things. I need them to do things. Who are you? You stated last election that your people know how to vote. That means you separate yourself from America. You said that your people are informed voters, which means that the black voters aren't informed. You praised your people in your country, your island, but you told black folks in America, just be stupid and vote for Joe Biden. So the audacity of you to say you expect something from a politician is insane to me. Amanda Psychotic Seals. And y'all do know she on a whole bunch of medication. You know that, right? She got a medicine cabinet full of pills. How much you want to bet?
Told her straight up that I feel like she is disingenuous in her messaging. And she said to me, well, you're being too critical. And I said, I am a voter. I'm supposed to be critical.
What? Wait a minute. Hold up. I know I didn't just hear Amanda Seals say, I'm a voter. I'm supposed to be critical after she told black folks, don't think, just vote for Joe Biden. Hold on.
Well, you're being too critical. And I said, I am a voter. I'm supposed to be critical.
Amanda Seals says, I'm a voter. I'm supposed to be critical. Amanda Seals, if you were critical, ma'am, you wouldn't be a Democrat. There's nobody that has a critical thought in their head that votes Democrat. Doesn't happen. If you're a critical thinker, Amanda Seals, which you are not, you would not vote Democrat. So the fact that you are blindly loyal to the Democratic Party lets me know that you're not a critical thinker. In fact, you probably don't think at all because you run your mouth, you talk crazy. Somebody talking out of both sides of their neck. The audacity, the nerve, the gall of Amanda Seals to talk this way. Who are you? Thought you wasn't from here.
That's my job. And I want to see actions. She said, well, how am I supposed to talk about racism in America without calling Americans racist? I said, well, first of all, there are many racist Americans. But there's also policy, legislation, institution, and systems that are racist that need to be addressed.
There are also, Amanda Seals, many black people that are racist. There are also many black folks that are a part of these so-called systems you're talking about. Everything you're saying, I can talk about black folks the same way. In fact, I would say black folks are more racist because black folks don't like white people and they don't like black folks either. When I really get down to it, black folks pretty much don't like anybody. Now, we all know that Amanda Seals didn't tell her like she's telling it right now. There's no way. Amanda Seals said it very calm, very nice. She didn't buck. She wasn't all this rah-rah. Hold on one second. I'll be right back, IG. Give me 10 seconds. Y'all count. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 10 seconds. Let's continue though. Amanda Seals is crazy. But again, she didn't go to Kamala with her chest poked out, all that talking. She didn't do it like, she may have said these statements, but it wasn't like how she's saying it. You know, Kamala, I just feel like we can't trust you because one minute you say this and the next minute you say, like, it was something like that. It wasn't like, you talking out both sides of your neck, woman. What? It wasn't like that. You know, we just, you know, Trump is after us, Kamala. We just need you to be consistent. You know, we just don't know where you stand, and we're just so afraid of Trump. That's how she went in there. I know how black folks don't do. Black folks grovel behind closed doors. Black folks grovel and beg behind closed doors. Let's continue.
They need to be addressed. And if you're not going to do that in an...
If she talked to her at all, I just figured she did because she went viral. I mean, I figured she ain't that crazy to say just lie, knowing folks on her staff might say something about it. But I figured she did talk to her, but it wasn't like this, though. She said Kamala summoned her, which she probably did. Amanda Seals she's a voice for the left. She's a libtard. She's a speaker of the libtards.
Actualized way and in a loud, bold way, people will never really know where you're coming from. Well, you can't tell me how I feel. So I'm not telling you how you feel. I'm telling you how you sound.
Oh, this is cap. Now listen. Amanda Seals, listen, man. Amanda Seals, this is cap now. Now we get into the cap. No. Now I know it's cap.
I'm telling you how you sound.
Ain't no way in the world she talking, because y'all know behind closed doors, Kamala a fool. Now y'all do know behind closed doors, Kamala ain't to play with. You best believe that when them doors shut, Kamala ain't nothing to play with. Believe me. Believe me. She would have been checked him. Now I know it's cap.
Okay? The truth is that you should always question your source and what are their intentions.
So we're going to take your advice right now in real time, Amanda Seals. We're going to question you. We don't trust you. Your intentions are always bad. Thank you for giving us this life tip, Amanda Seals. You are the source we don't trust, and your intentions are always bad. Chaz says, what's crazy is Trump was already president for 4 years. Which of his policies were catastrophic to the black race? Trump was president. Amanda Seals. Trump was president for 4 years. Kamala Harris, both of y'all. Trump was president for 4 years. Which one of his policies were catastrophic to black people? Now, last I checked, he was giving out money to those black-ran Democratic cities. I remember when he gave, didn't he give that district, Cummings district, $18 billion? And the money went nowhere. And then when he brought it up, y'all said he was racist. When he gave them black folks $18 billion in a district that was mostly black. And me and my boy did the math. And the math stated that everybody that was 18 and over in that district could have got $40,000 for that money that Trump gave. $40,000 per person. Kim Klacik did a video, and Kim Klacik said they could have literally rehabbed almost all of Baltimore with that money, with them homes. So last I checked, all these black folks went to Trump and got that check cut for them. Nobody black went to go see Trump and left empty-handed. Nobody black. Y'all ain't even went to go see Biden because you know better. Imagine that. Imagine how despicable you all are. Y'all are so despicable and disgusting that you all went to Trump, got the check signed, walked out like a happy field hand, and then when Joe Biden got in office, you couldn't even go see him because you knew better. But when you get in front of the camera, you tell him how great he is. It's disgusting and it's despicable. There is no honor in the black community. Zero.
And what you all need to know is that I don't need to do any of this. I don't need to talk about any of this.
The fact that she just said, now think about this now. Now think about on one hand them saying Trump's going to be a dictator and then her saying, I ain't even got to speak about it. How are you so comfortable? How could you be so comfortable with a possible dictator who doesn't like black people coming into office? What makes you so confident, Amanda Seals? I'll tell you all. Because she knows it's cap. She's not worried because it's fake. It's all propaganda. She knows this. She just told you, I ain't got to do this. She just told you she don't care. She ain't got a care in the world. All this Trump rhetoric is a lie. It's cap. Joe Biden has been the worst president in U.S. history. Imagine how dishonorable black people are. Imagine being under the worst president ever and still saying you don't want Trump. None of you all ever said that Trump was the worst president ever. Y'all called him racist, xenophobic, mean, but y'all never said he was the worst president ever. Biden is literally the worst president ever, literally. And y'all get in front of these cameras and praise him. It's disgusting. There is no honor in the black community. No honor. Hit it.
Some of you niggas ain't real. Some of you niggas ain't real. Some of you niggas ain't Some of you niggas ain't
Let's continue. Let's continue. Let's continue. Let's continue.
It's been her biggest accomplishment since she's been vice president.
Oh, I have to say, since the Dobbs opinion, the way that she has rallied women and friends of women, also called men, around this country on the issue of abortion and just taken it home. First vice president in history to visit an abortion clinic. Go get them. You know, she's someone who talks openly about.
Hold on. I don't know who that group is. I mean, the song is, if somebody says it's a bop, it is a bop. But I don't know who the group is. They're in front of a house. I don't know who it is, but I'll try to find out though. But I like the song too. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Let me start over.
Biggest accomplishment since she's been vice president.
Oh, I have to say, since the Dobbs opinion, the way that she has rallied women and friends of women, also called men, around this country on the issue of abortion and just taken it home. First vice president in history to visit an abortion clinic. Go get them. You know, she's someone who talks openly about things that were kind of challenging for some people to talk about, but also.
Imagine getting credit for going to an abortion clinic where babies are being murdered. Imagine you getting credit for going to an abortion clinic where babies are being murdered to then go promote more babies being murdered. Imagine women hearing this and thinking this is a good thing. Imagine a person getting credit for going to an abortion clinic where babies are being murdered to then tell the world to murder more babies. Let's continue.
also to talk about it with
President Biden didn't even mention the word abortion in his State of the Union.
But Vice President Harris has, and she's talked about it both with compassion, but also with a sense of what is right. How can we be a country that half of America lost rights because of an extremist Supreme Court put in place by Donald Trump?
First of all, I had this discussion with someone, and they didn't understand what I was saying. Roe v. Wade was based on a lie. Norma McCorvey never had an abortion. So the case only came about because they believed she had an abortion or she was being denied an abortion. She never had one. The federal government should have never stepped in and said what a woman can do with her body. The irony of the argument is you can't tell a woman what to do with her body, but the federal government did. Excuse me. So then the Supreme Court says, well, actually, you know what? Let's do it the right way. Let's leave it up to the states. Now, keep in mind that all these libtard states, they were paying women to go there and get their abortions. You do know that since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, abortions have gone up, skyrocketed. So the overturning of Roe v. Wade has not stopped abortions at all. It's been the opposite. It's been more abortions. And I said this, that women were going to use their wombs to protest. I don't understand how any sensible woman, any God-fearing woman, any woman with decency could vote for a woman. I just don't understand how you could vote for a woman that literally her platform is abortion and transgender rights. As if transgenders don't have any rights. Sad. It's sad. Let's continue. Let's continue. Speaking of trans.
I'm just waiting on the day that Black men realize that the fantasy that they have of what a relationship should look like with a Black woman is literally just them trying to mimic white men and what their relationship is like with white women. That's why they're always comparing Black women to white women. You can't compare us to white women. We're not white women. You're not a white man. My feminine would never be a white woman's feminine. The things you call me masculine for is what Black women have always been. Black women have always worked. Black women have contributed to the building of America. We have always contributed to the household and more, to communities. Black women have always been strong, mentally and physically. Black women have always had voices, deep voices at that. So the things you call us masculine for is what we always been. And you don't realize that our femininity is probably lost in survival mode.
Well, I went to they were saying this is a transgender. It looks like a woman to me. I don't know. I think it's a woman, but I don't know. But a few things in this clip. So white women work too. Asian women work. Hispanic women, every other group of women works in America. So you're not unique in that sense, and they're able to still submit to their husbands and stay married. This notion that Black women are somehow under the boot of Black men is foolishness. Other races of women are able to work and still make a house a home. So this notion that Black men are expecting Black women to be like white women, that's an impossible task. It's impossible. Most white women value marriage. Most Black women don't. Most white women wouldn't dare be a baby mama. Most Black women will. So again, there's no comparison between you all and white women. I hate to say it like this. There's no comparison. There's a video that went viral of a young lady. I might pull it up. A young lady talking about, she said that black women can't compete. She didn't say that, but she's from Germany. And she was talking about what her husband was used to with black women and what he's used to with her. She said he wasn't used to it. She said, I treated him normally how I would treat a man in my culture, and my husband was shocked and flabbergasted by it. So clearly, again, now there are some black women out there that got some sense. And when they got a good man, they'll treat him right. But this culture that we see today, this I'm voting for Kamala culture, no, they're not. So yeah, I'll play it again.
I'm just waiting on the day that black men realize that the fantasy that they have of what a relationship should look like with a black woman is literally just them trying to mimic white men and what their relationship is like with white women. That's why.
The funny thing about this is when it comes to relationships, it's not about race. Black folks are slow. It's not about race. It is about the culture you are in, how you were raised. It has nothing to do with white men and white women. It is how they were raised. What is their culture? Their culture still respects marriage. Your culture doesn't. What do you mean comparing you to a white woman and acting like white men? That's insane. A man wants peace regardless of the household. Whether she's white, black, Asian, Hispanic, immigrant, it don't matter. He wants peace. A man is going to want a submissive woman. That's in his nature. Enough is enough now. Y'all want to have attitudes and wear fake hair? And you don't want to work out? You want to have the attitude, the fake hair, and you don't want to work out. And you don't value marriage. And you want to be a boss bee. It's a lot to deal with. That's a lot to deal with. Expecting you to be a wife is acting like white men. It's insane.
That's why they're always comparing black women to white women. You can't compare us to white women. We're not white women. You're not a white man.
Listen, ladies, if you find a good man, really find a good man, you should be honored to submit to him. All you got to do is submit. He going to give you the word. All you have to do, you ever seen a guy at the club and the woman buys him a drink? You ever see his face? You ever see a guy at the club or the bar and the woman says, I got it. You see that man's face? He will never forget that woman. And that's off of buying a drink in a club. That is a woman that's a stranger to him that buys a drink in a club, he'll never forget her. Look how easy it is to impress men. It's very easy, ladies. So why is it so difficult for black women to get married? If y'all got everything going for y'all, why is it so difficult for you? How is it that black men get married more than black women by 6%? Maybe even 7%. How are black men getting married more than black women? So again, if the woman in the club gets remembered forever for buying a drink, what do you think you're going to get for submitting to the man who deserves submission, who's honorable?
My feminine would never be a white woman's feminine. The things you call me masculine for is what black women have always been. Black women have always worked. Black women have contributed to the building of America. We have always contributed to the household and more, to communities. Black women.
Every woman of every society and culture, every woman of every society and culture has contributed to said society and said culture. Women have been working since the beginning of time. Women have always been working. The further you get from the castle, the more folks got to work. The further you get from the castle, the more folks got to work. Women have been working across the planet in all cultures and all societies since forever. So this notion that black women were the only ones working is a lie. It's just a lie. Now, you said, Neek asked, will you marry the woman that buys you a drink? It depends on the circumstance. Now, if she's buying me a drink to holler at me, that's different. But if she's buying me a drink out of just we're talking and just the drink comes, she say, I got it. That's something different. That's honorable. She's saying, I value your time. So if we just talking, a woman just said, oh, I got it, or put it on my tab, I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, yeah, it's good. I don't care what people gonna tell y'all, a man's gonna be impressed. I don't care what y'all say. A man's gonna be impressed. I'm just telling y'all. It don't take much to impress men. It really don't. Let's continue.
Men have always been strong, mentally and physically. Black women have always had voices, deep voices at that. So the things you
you know what I'm saying? Listen, hold on. The stuff, let me ask y'all a question. What have black men been complaining about this entire time? What was Kevin Samuels addressing? What does every relationship show about black women address? What do they all have in common? They don't get on black women. They never talk about black women's hair, their weight, how they dress, none of that. Their careers. They never talk about this stuff. Their hair, their eyelashes, their nails, none of that. All of these shows deal with one thing when it concerns black women. And that's right, Neek. It's that mouth. It's that mouth. The mouth. The one thing that black women can control for free. The one thing that can get them the keys to the castle and the keys to the car and a happy life. The one thing that black women can fix for free. They refuse to do. Black women go and buy the expensive shoes, the purses, they get the eyelashes, they get the hair, they get the outfits, they get the nails, they get the car, they get the career, they get the house, they get all that. But the one thing they required to fix, they won't do it. Ain't that something? The easiest thing to fix, control your mouth. That's it. Won't do it. But they want to sit in the bed looking like a retired NBA player because we expecting too much. It's foolish.
do call us masculine for is what we always been. And you don't realize that our femininity is probably lost in survival mode.
Dear black women, this advice. If you go to a black man and you're not in survival mode, dear black women, if you go to a righteous black man, I'm not talking about these weak simps, beta, cucks out here. None of these jugs. I'm talking about an honorable man that has a standard that he's willing to hold you to. If you go to that man and you tell him that you need him, he is going to make sure that you're seen about. I'm just telling y'all this. Listen, put your guard down. Peel that off. Take them off. Take these off. Put your guard down and go to that man humbly and say, listen, I need you. Jill Scott had a song. I need you. In the whole song, she says, I can do all these great things, but I still need you. If you do that for a man, it's going to activate something in him, and he's going to turn into Superman. I'm just telling y'all, I'm giving y'all the cheat code. But the qualifier is that he has to be honorable. He can't be no random judge. He has to be wise and not foolish. Let's continue.
Americans, by and large, still don't understand what it is they're witnessing. When it boils down to Joe Biden's cognitive decline, it proves not only is he not in control, some other class is. And then if you fast forward, you have in broad daylight the establishment nominating their own Democratic candidate, which is not just a power flex. It's so much more than that, you see. The establishment just made more than 150 million Americans question, if the establishment can nominate any candidate they wish, what's stopping them from installing who they want to be president? And since no one...
This is Jasmine Contours. And so she's just talking about the implications behind, you know, we're talking about Kamala being black and all what's it. But this is the implications behind Kamala being just selected for Democrats. No kind of due process took place. Nobody voted for Kamala. They just threw her in there. So listen to what she's saying.
No one can prove or disprove how much corruption is actually afoot. It's time for Americans to start operating off of what we won't risk versus what we can prove. Stop debating. Start divorcing. Let's address the facts. Millions of Americans believe that what they just witnessed is progress and history in the making. They were fed a brown candidate with the right genitalia. The rest of us just want to stop World War III and close the borders. We want resources to reach our communities. But Democrats measure progress by a reproductive organ. Everyone else is measuring progress by slowing the census from growing because it's indirectly impacting our rent prices. We're trying to survive out here. If Americans are ready for solutions...
I'm going to stop right real quick. I spoke with someone today and she told me, she said she listened to some people, some political scientists talk about why they opened the border. And basically they opened the border because they said that Americans were not reproducing enough. This is how Satan works. Satan tells you, well, we had to open the border because Americans aren't reproducing, simultaneously telling women to have an abortion. Think about that. God is not the author of confusion. So imagine over 60 million babies being aborted since Roe v. Wade, 1973. 60 million. Over a third of those babies were from black women. So imagine them getting on TV saying, we're not reproducing and we need to have folks come in to deal with the work, the labor, keep the workforce up, but then at the same time telling women to have an abortion. Come on, y'all. The enemy is clever. Now, this is talking out of both sides of your neck. On one hand, saying we got to have the country flooded with immigrants. On the other hand, saying women kill your babies. The devil will always give you what you want, but he will never let you enjoy it. And so you women are having these abortions, but these people coming over here are coming over here pregnant and with children. So pretty soon, you're going to look out on the landscape and it's going to be a whole bunch of other children from other countries in here, and your child's going to be the minority. And when I say minority, I mean American minority. Let's continue.
I have one. The path forward is delivering progressives and Democrats to their own union.
Yes, Paul. And to further the nail in the coffin, not only are they promoting mass immigration and invasion, not only are they saying to abort your baby, but they're also saying if your child happens to come out of the womb, make sure you alter their genitals so they can't have any children. The devil will always give you what you want, but he will never let you enjoy it. Remember that. He will never let you enjoy it.
The DNC just rigged their election in broad daylight, substantiating a national divorce, substantiating the idea that the American experiment has concluded. The American Union must dissolve. To be fiscally responsible behind these claims, I will assert that I am a former political science student from the nation's capital. So I would advise Americans to nominate Texas as an economic engine so that surrounding states can secede with Texas to combine their GDPs. Americans don't realize how large of a country you are.
48% of America is uninhabited. Almost half of America, nobody lives at all. And then half of the 52%, barely any people live there. America is huge in Trump's voice. You can fit the entire population of the United States in Texas, and everybody will get 1 acre. You can fit the entire population of the United States in Texas, everybody will get 1 acre. You can put the entire planet in Texas and everybody will get 600 square feet. That's how big Texas is, and that's one state. That's one state. See, they make you believe that America is very small. It's not. It's huge. It's huge. Let's continue.
Don't realize that if you were to combine your GDPs, it would be in the trillions, and you would rival the GDP of Canada. You are your own floating countries. You don't really need one another, not in these days.
She's 1,000% correct, because I think California has they're ranked globally with their economy. So what she's saying is we need to have a national divorce. What she's saying is that states succeed from the union. This is what Abraham Lincoln was trying to prevent. States saying we don't want to be a part of the U.S. So again, what the Democrats are doing is they're setting up communism. So the fact that Kamala Harris wasn't voted on, she was just placed somewhere in a position, should alarm everybody. So if they're not going to play by the rules, if they're going to cheat, then we just separate. There's no negotiating with the left or Democrats. They want 9-month abortions. They want mandated snake bites. They want lockdowns. They believe in climate change. They want transgender children. They want abortions. The left, there's no reasoning with them. There's no negotiating. There is nothing to talk about with the left. The only solution is to separate any negotiation with the left, the Democrats or the libtards or the progressives, whatever you want to call them. Any negotiations only weakens your own power. We have to separate from these people. These people are insane. You would not believe what Molly is going through in California, which is why she had to move to Texas. These people are insane. California has been destroyed through policy. And folks are still going to vote for another Democrat. It's crazy. Kamala Harris has the worst track record ever, and folks still want to vote for her. We cannot have a union with them. That's what she's saying. You cannot have a union with them. There's no negotiations. And any propaganda, and if we separate any propaganda that is negative towards the separated states is an act of war. It should be. Now, you all do know that once these states separate and the liberals start eating their own, they're going to want to run to the separated states. Y'all know it. All these folks leaving California, going to Republican, conservative states and trying to make them blue. You can't negotiate with these people. They're crazy. Why would you leave California because of the policies that are Democratic and then go somewhere and still want to be Democratic? It doesn't make any sense. You have to separate from them. That's why you got to separate.
Stop debating, start divorcing. Deliver Democrats to the establishment, they progressively grow, or you're going to live in a democracy with them. If the rest of us want to live in a constitutional republic that is not perfect, it's sure as hell better than a democracy, and I'll take that. We have seen that the establishment wants Kamala in power, so fine. States should block her power, protecting themselves from her policies moving forward. And if your response to that is that a national divorce will offset civil war, you're looking at a civil war remaining in a union with Marxists, socialists, and communists anyway.
Hear what she just said? It's going to be a war regardless. It's going to be a war regardless. Listen, you all, these folks are openly coming for your children, in the womb and out the womb. Make no mistakes about it. They want you to either abort your baby or make your baby transgender. So again, you at war anyway. It's already a war. There's no negotiation. There can be no pact between lions and men. A lion's going to be a lion and a man's going to be a man. There can be no pact. There's no agreement a lion can reach with a man. The lion's going to say, if you come over here, I'm going to kill you. And the man will say, you come over here, I'm going to kill you. That's the understanding they have. But guess what? The lion respects the man and the man respects the lion.
Because they persecute, abuse, and assassinate their political opposition for their democracy. Perspective is everything, isn't it? If your response to a national divorce is that no one has the right to break the country apart because this country was stolen, your answer isn't returning the country to its owners. It's actually allowing a class of elites to rob America of her nationhood. You have no moral argument. If you fear what America will look like if she is no longer a 50-state union, you will watch America become a democracy anyway if you stand around and wait for Washington, D.C. to change course and start working for you. I've got news for the critics of national divorce. For the last decade, America has been called racist and irredeemable for the crimes of slavery. And ironically, those who call America irredeemable can't also make the case that Americans should remain in a union with the same irredeemable government. In fact, they've built the premises for a national divorce without realizing it. They've built the premises for a national divorce better than anyone. And that's ironic. Deliver Democrats to their own union, give them the progress they're asking for, or we'll live in a democracy with them. A national divorce is not a call for war. It's to concede that we have irreconcilable differences now. We have grown apart. Our union has expired. The American experiment has concluded on itself. It died the day the establishment proved that Washington, D.C. is a club and none of us are in it. Cheers to national divorce.
That's Jasmine Contours, one of these brilliant minds of our of our times. But what she's basically saying is that what we are trying to avoid is going to happen anyway. Staying in the union with the left only going to have a uniparty because the negotiations only takes away the power from the right. They're already extremely radical. So whether you want it or not, you're either going to be under a communist dictatorship or under your own republic. Those are your options. But you best believe you stay around the people long enough, you're going to make the deal you can't get out of. But that is Jasmine Contour. She is on Instagram and she is on YouTube. And that's Jasmine spelled with a Y. Anyway, that's my time for today. I'm going to go through these super stickers. Jahan, thank you so much. El Blancho with that shirt on. Thank you so much, Jahan, for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. Cruz Missile, happy birthday. Thanks for all the great content. No, thank you, Cruz Missile, for being a ride or die. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Dead or Alive, yes, happy birthday, Blanche. We love and appreciate all of your dedication. May God bless you. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Dead or Alive. Zoom K, happy birthday, brother. I thank you for sharing all the wisdom that God's provided to you. I thank God for letting you speak truth in this wicked world. Take this contribution as I'm still waiting for a feature on an album. LOL. I make music as well. God bless you. I got you, Zoom K. Thank you so much. You just paid for your spot. No, I'm kidding. I got you, though. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Zoom 7K. Idris Singleton, happy birthday, Blanche. Enjoy your day. Thank you so much. Idris, thank you. JV Chanel, super sticker, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Randall Hampton, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Tierra Barnes, happy birthday, Blanche. Hope you have a blessed year. Now here's some change so you can get lemon pepper wings, fries, and Arnold Palmer. Thank you so much, Tierra. Thank you. EWP, have a blessed birthday, Brother Blanche. Thank you so much. Y'all making me feel so good, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Soy for Night, happy birthday, and God bless. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, Soy for Night. I really appreciate it. Jay Slay, happy birthday, Blanche. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And MKOK, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Listen, I love y'all. I will be back on Wednesday. Thank y'all for the birthday wishes. Y'all are awesome. Thank you. Now listen, back in my backsliding days, I used to kill them wings. Thank you, Chaz. I used to kill them wings. Listen, all flats. Ooh, I was so decked. I get a 20-piece lemon pepper all flats, 20-piece with the fries, with the Arnold Palmer, with the extra ranch. Oof. Those were the days. But listen, I love y'all. I thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. And I will see you all on Wednesday. Love y'all. Thank you.